Going for two live, it's your boy here, Dan, at the B League Says, coming at you on a Wednesday for a show that's dropping on a Sunday for a Monday night football prop show talking about the Bills at Jets. We're going to get into in a minute. So remember, the show is pre-recorded. Check your lines when it gets closer to the date. This will come out on a Sunday. For Monday, obviously, things are going to change between now and then. Bear in mind, okay? But we're going to talk about that. As always, you can find me at the B League Says. And always go to Underdog Fantasy when you're putting your prop bets down. Promo code GF2 for 100% matching deposit, up to 250 big ones. Let's get going talking about Monday Night Football. We're going to talk about the Bills at the Jets, okay? The Bills have been underwhelming. They've had a weird sort of year. The Jets just fired Robert Saleh. Aaron Rodgers, wow, talk about some stroke. My God. Didn't he get lucky with that? How Nathaniel Hackett survived is beyond me, but that's neither here nor there. We're going to talk right into these props. We've got three prop bets for this game, Monday Night Football. We're going to talk pick number one, Josh Allen. Lower than 228.5 passing yards. Look, 2 games in a row with under 200 passing yards. It's very un-Josh Allen-like, which makes it 3 for the year. He's yet to go over 265 passing yards this year and has been over the implied total only twice this season. He's been over 228 12 times in 2023. So for him to match that for the rest of the year, he has to go over every week, give or take. That tells you how bad it's been for him and the Bills going, since the start of the season. It's not really bad. It's been pretty bad for them. Now comes up against the team that's given up the fewest passing yards this season. He looks out of sorts, has zero rhythm with his receivers. Dalton Kincaid, what happened? Curtis Samuel, who knows? Mac Hollins, why? MVS, why? Dawson Knox, why? Like, Keon Coleman, you're not Stephon Diggs. This is where we're at with them. It's just a really bad team. I don't know how they do it. That whole AFC East is there for the taking. It's just a matter of who wants it more at this point because none of them look very good. Unbelievable. No wonder the Patriots made a quarterback change. They must like their chances to go through for the rest of the year. Either way, it is what it is. So make it what you want of this. They're the only team that keeps Sam Darnold, the Jets, under 180 passing yards this year. However, the Jets can claim to have had an easiest run. They've played, Bo Nix, Will Levis, Jacoby Brissett in the 5 games they've played this year. So they've had a pretty easy run. Brock Purdy's the only quarterback test outside of Sam Darnold they've had. And they held him to 230 yards this year in week 1. So they've kept quarterbacks quiet, albeit they're all not as good as Josh Allen, but they've kept everyone quiet. And Allen's not in form. It could be a game where he just runs for 130 yards and scores 2 or 3 touchdowns. I can imagine that as well. Pick number 2, speaking of the Bills and the ground game, we're going James Cook, lower than 58.5 rushing yards. I know that sounds weird to say. The Jets aren't a team that gives up a lot of big games to running backs. This year, only once has that happened, and this was a Jordan Mason game in week 1. Since then, no running back has put up over 80 on them. Teams will committee on them, so you can see splits like that in the box scores. So if it's like they played Denver, it's like McLaughlin, Javonte Williams, and number 3. If they've played the Patriots, it's like Ramondre, Gibson, and whatever. They've basically all been flying around from that. James Cook is also a guy who goes as the game flows. He's up in the 70s, he's down in the 40s. I can see his hands getting used in this game because their passing game is so weak. I can see a 3-4 reception game, but on the ground, I think I'm going to fade this week. Pick number 3, we're going to talk about Garrett Wilson because we're going to talk about something in regards to the Jets, right? Look, here's the thing. A new coach taking over the game after their star receiver finally had a decent game because he had, 22 targets in London against the Vikings? 22 targets. He finally had a decent game. It took him 22 targets. What are we doing here? Either way, so he's finally connected with Aaron Rodgers. It took him a bit of time, but it is what it is. If I'm a smart man, I force feed the ball to him all night long to keep that going. So Wilson, he had a pretty shitty start to the season, but I think his matchup with Vikings last week was a decent launch pad to kickstart their season again. I can see another, 10, 12, 14 target game coming towards him at this point. The Bills are a tough passing defense. Their secondary's next man up mentality. They've lost a lot of players on defense again. They've done pretty good this year. This is nothing against them, but I can see a dead game where it's Wilson, maybe Conklin, and that's about it getting work. I have absolutely zero faith for this game. I feel like the numbers are going to be poor, and I feel like Wilson's going to get there by attrition because they're just going to ping it to him so often. He's going to get by. That's it. That's it for Monday Night Football Show. We're going to talk about Underdog Fantasy promo code GF2 for 100% matching deposit up to 250 big ones. We're talking Bills at Jets for Monday Night Football on a Wednesday, released on a Sunday for Monday. Go figure. Pick number 1, Josh Allen. We're going to go lower than 228.5 passing yards. Pick number 2, James Cook, we're going to go lower than 58.5 rushing yards. Pick number 3, Garrett Wilson, we're going to go higher than 62.5 receiving yards in week 6. I hope you have a great weekend. Safe bets, happy punts. Cheers.